Fast Forward Productions. The women are speaking.
You can know what's best. You can know the work. You can know the skill set. You can know how to make the client happy. And sometimes you just have to let them make those decisions. Sometimes you just have to say, okay, you can fall on your face. That's perfectly fine. Sometimes you also can be the person that takes the risk and says, hey, let us just do this real quick. Let us try this. Let us test this. Let us see what's going to happen. Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Below 14th Street. I'm your host, Ashley Pollard, and today's story is a mix of a personal story and also a business lesson that I will learn that I never want to do. What I'm telling you about today is this. I'm not going to name the brand, and I've worked at a ton of brands, but I haven't worked at so many that it could be any brand in the world. I mean, you know my LinkedIn and you will maybe be able to put two and two together, but I worked at this one brand that I was tasked with. God, I have to be so general. I worked for this one brand, and I'm trying to be super general because you could probably put two and two together. And when I was there, I was tasked with growing a new department of the business. Now, this is something that I kind of made a name for myself in the industry where I knew how to grow new departments. And so I would go to different places and start a new department of their business. Let's say it was a handbag company. Maybe I would come in and start shoes, or maybe they were an apparel company. Maybe I would start handbags. So I had this model, which has made me really respected, not even respected, but has made me very successful at Team AP Consulting because it's basically how to grow a business really fast. And so what I did for a specific brand is I came in and I was supposed to grow this department. A big part of what I do with product, and this isn't always the case with service providers, but a big part of how I do that with product brands is through influencer marketing. Now, if you're in a service-based business, this could look like leaning on referrals or leaning on your network. You know, my whole thing was I'm going to get a lot of eyes on this. And this particular company, the ranking that I had in that space, I could spend $25,000 without getting approval. Now, that doesn't mean that I could spend $25,000 on myself or that I personally could use it. I had a budget for the business of $25,000 a quarter that I could use without, actually, no, I think I had a budget of $200,000 that I could use without getting approval. And once something passed $25,000, I had to get approval. So just for clarification. So when I started, they said, hey, we have these macro influencers we really want to work with. They're massive. Huge. And each of them are, $30,000 to $50,000 for us to partner with them in some way. And I thought, that is so fucking stupid. Like, no offense. And if you are a macro influencer, I know how hard it is. I know what you have to grind through. I honestly would rather be a service-based business than an influencer. That is a rough and tumble industry. Anyone who wants to talk shit, go try for yourself. It's fucking hard. You want to talk about mental mindset, changing your mindset around things? Ooh, it is nothing but hate as an influencer. So kudos to you. But the money sometimes is just unbelievable to me. And so I had these people who were like, we want to partner with them. We want to partner with them. We want to partner with them. And I'm thinking, I don't want to spend $50,000 of my budget to work with these macro influencers. But I also knew that I didn't have a ton of people really looking at the work I was doing. So they said, here's your budget and here's what we want you to do with it. On you go. And I said, okay, great. And then I turned around and I did what I wanted with it. And is that the most professional move? No, but I very much live my life that I would rather get forgiveness than permission. And that's that. So I did. I took the money. Turned around and I said, okay, I don't really give a shit what they told me to do with this money. I'm doing whatever the fuck I want, knowing that if I kept it under $25,000, I would never have to get approval. So what I did is I decided to look at 10 different markets, the 5 markets that should have been their highest performing, that they were kind of doing not so great in. So let's say I really expected them to have a strong sales presence in Seattle, which was one of them. And Seattle wasn't really even on the top 10 sales. I was like, okay, that's one that I want to focus on because it should be really high and it's not that high. Chicago should be really high and it's not that high. Detroit, Michigan should be really high and it's not that high. So I took these should be high performing markets and I said, I'm focusing on those 5. And then I looked at the lowest performing markets And I said, where do we have the most opportunity to take them from low to medium sized markets within our business? That might have been, Miami based on this business, or Houston or Albuquerque, things like that. So I ran all of the data, I collected all the information, and I had my markets. And what I did with my $200,000 budget is I went out to about 20 to 30 people in each of these 10 cities. So we're talking 200 to 500 people, depending on the city. And I said, I will pay you $5,000 if you post this product on this specific window of time. It was like a Friday through Sunday. So in essence, 500 people nationwide who have some level of influence, let's say 10,000 followers, 12,000 followers, 15,000 followers, no less than 10. I think I had a couple like 9,800 where I was like, by the time this gets posted, they'll hit 10. So I didn't send product, but I said, with this money, I would like for you to buy a product and post it and post about it in this specific window. Now, the reason that I couldn't send them product is because I was making my own rules, and the higher ups were going to notice that Ashley Pollard was onto something if I was also shipping out 500 pieces of inventory. I couldn't have flags. So what I did is I said, hey, to you 200 to 500 people, I don't remember the number, buy one of these 5 products and post it on this Friday to this one Sunday. And all of this ended up costing, let's say it's 5,000, let's say it's 500 people on the high. It ended up costing $25,000. So all in all, I still stayed under that flag of like what you're spending. But also none of it would have been flagged because I didn't spend $25,000 on any one particular person. And that's how it gets flagged. So I was like, I know this is going to work. My idea was if I hit 10 markets with 500 people posting, people are gonna notice. And they think that if we hit 4 major influencers that we're going to see a ton of followers and sales from, I don't think that's gonna work. I think it's going to be more beneficial to have a ton of little tiny guys helping us raise awareness for this specific product. So that's what I did. I knew they were going to be pissed. I knew I was maybe going to lose my job. I knew that they were going to talk about how I didn't go with the plan that they had, but I stuck to my guns. I said, I know that this strategy is going to work, and you just got to sit there in your little chair in the corner with your cute little suit and go on and on. I don't really give a shit. I'm going to do what I want. So the day started getting near. That weekend started getting near, and I made sure to do it on a weekend so I wasn't in the office. The weekend was getting near, and I was like, oh my God, I'm days away from losing my job. Like days away from losing my job. And I was like pacing back and forth. I'm like, the second I see one of these people tag the business, and I'm like following all their handles and like have post notifications on for all of them. And I'm like, the second that I see one, I'm going to start having a panic attack, because any second now I'm going to get a phone call that's like, what did you do? Like, why is everybody talking about this one product that nobody gave a shit about and now everybody loves? Like, what happened here? I knew it was coming, and I was so anxious. It was terrifying, but also like so much fun, because I knew I kind of stuck it to the man, because I was like, this is a better idea than yours is. So cocky. So anyway, the weekend comes and people start posting, and there's hundreds of posts of people with kind of similar captions, wearing almost the same product, but in different colors, in kind of the same setup, which is something that I arranged. I did not come up with this strategy. If you want to learn about Away luggage, go listen to a podcast that they did, because this is where I got the idea. And so everybody's posting about this product. And then people are commenting, oh my God, I'm seeing this all over my feed. When did people buy this all of a sudden? Oh my God, this is like coming out of nowhere. Oh my gosh, this is coming out of nowhere. And I was like, here we go. I'm going to get an email that says, we got to talk about this. And no one really noticed. And I was like, okay. So I was given very rigid orders. I defied those orders in a massive way and didn't spend the money the way that they told me to. And I'm young, and they're probably going to be like, hey, idiot, we told you to do something. That's your job. But I decided I was more responsible for the results than for my boss's happiness. And so I did what I wanted. Then they started to notice. Then they started to say, where is all of this intrigue coming from? Where is all of this excitement coming from? The week after this happened. And I was called into a meeting, and they were like, what Like, who did you send product to? Because it's everywhere now. And I said, so about that, I didn't send anyone product and I didn't pay any of those macro influencers. I actually went to these top 5 markets and these bottom 5 markets, and I gave everybody $5,000 to hundreds of people, and they lost their fucking minds. Okay. They were furious. They were so mad, so angry. And they did not like that. They did not like that at all. Okay. Little Miss Ashley Pollard took, a decent amount of their money and spread it all over the country when I was supposed to spread it among 4 macro influencers. And I just kept saying, let's just wait for the selling reports to come out. Give me a month. Let's track the selling, because we would get selling reports on Monday. Let's track the selling reports. Let's see what sells in the stores. Let's see what happens week over week. And sure enough, it became one of the top selling product in that category. Everybody was trying to get a pair. Everybody was trying to get this product. Everyone was talking about it. Oh my God, is this out of stock? Oh my God, where can I get this? Oh my God, where can I get this? Where can I get this? Where can I get this? It became like the thing. People were writing about it. This is the number one thing to buy for the season. This is the number one thing to buy for the season. Maybe not number one. It was never number one, but it was like on lists like that, right? The top 10 things to buy this season. They came back to me and they said, listen, obviously it worked. Okay. We'll give you that credit. We're happy it worked. We're happy to see that people are talking about it. We're happy to see that people, are creating excitement about the brand. We're excited to see that, this is selling out places, but we want it our way next time. So fine. Okay. We did it my way. You told me it worked. You want me to play by your rules? I am employed by you, so I'll follow the rules. I'm just a risk taker. That's who I am. And so the next quarter comes around and they say, send it to these 4 influencers, like pay them this amount of money. And it was so much money. And keep in mind, what I was paying one influencer is basically what I paid like 200 influencers, okay, across the country who now had the product, who was going to brunch with their friends, who was talking about it on their blog, like, whatever. I could go on a litany about how this is so annoying. So I pay these 4 massive influencers. We send them product. And it's honestly the same lift. We're hardly involved in the campaign. We give them general feedback about how they should be using the product, how they should be talking about it. Everybody's posting around the same time. 4 people. Granted, did they have 1 million followers, or 500,000 followers, or 750,000 followers? Yes. But let's say 1 million followers each, even though some of them I think were less than that. Then we keep tracking the selling reports, and nothing's really selling. And nothing's really selling. And nothing's really selling. And I was like, oh, look at that. If it isn't the consequences of your own actions, team of C-suite at this company. Because what had happened is that my strategy of creating a ton of chatter with a lot of people in a small way created a massive ripple effect of sales nationwide. People talking about it on social media, people talking about it with their friends. News outlets, not news outlets like Fox, but I mean like Refinery 29, trend and fashion outlets talking about the product. Then they went to these big all-star players who didn't actually sell any product when we paid them to promote it. It is such a wild thing. And what's crazy is that there are celebrities that we have supported in the past that we don't support right now in Dial Zero Marketing who have product brands. And I make more money than them in Team AP Consulting with my 9,500 followers, with my small business of just me and a VA, basically. We make more money than that celebrity who has a product line, who has 1 million followers. And I learned so much from this. And there's so much that I want you to take away. And I hope that this story is making sense because it's such a solid one. One is that creating chatter in a small way around a lot of people is something I tell people to do a lot. This is why social media is important. I don't need you to make an impactful post. I don't need you to be changing the world with every post. In fact, you don't even have to design new posts. Design 20 posts and lather, rinse, repeat them, and hardly anyone will notice. I guarantee you. The consistency is what matters because that's how you create chatter. That's how you create people talking about you and getting excited about you is a lot of people saying a little bit. That is like marketing 101. The second thing to know is that followers don't mean anything. It does not mean that you're going to be making a ton of money selling product. You can definitely make a ton of money with advertising and promotion, as we can see, because I gave them $25,000. But I didn't give them $25,000 again because it didn't work. The other thing that I want you to learn from this is that sometimes you are indebted to the results more than you are indebted to the client's happiness. I'm always the person that will say to a client, we're not doing that. You don't want us to do that. It's not going to work. And that's not me saying, well, she asked for it. I want her to be happy. That's me saying, I want this to work. I care about this as much as you. I said, okay, I hear what you say. And then I went behind my boss's back and I said, I'm going to do things my own way. I know what's going to work here. Now, I don't necessarily believe you have to do it that way. And yeah, if someone really wants to push back, then sure, fine, I'll do it your way. But it isn't going to work. And I'm going to say that to people. I don't want to hear about success then. I don't want to hear about sales. And I don't want to hear about the success of this, or I don't want to hear about campaign results or engagement because I don't think you will get it. Just so we're clear. And I will say that to clients. The third thing you can take away from this is that you can know what's best. You can know the work, you can know the skill set, you can know how to make the client happy. And sometimes you just have to let them make those decisions. Sometimes you just have to say, okay, you can fall on your face. That's perfectly fine. Sometimes you also can be the person that takes the risk and says, hey, let us just do this real quick. Let us try this. Let us test this. Let us see what's going to happen. Because at the end of the day, what I noticed is that micro influencers and creating a ton of chatter is really what's going to pop things off. I also learned that I kind of know what I'm talking about. It was a really big confidence builder for me. And if you're trying to figure out and gain more confidence in your business and figure out what you're doing and what your perspective is, one of the ways to build confidence in your business is to kind of take a calculated risk, because I did run a ton of analytics. But if you take a calculated risk and it works out, that adds to your confidence so much. Now, the difference is that if you take a calculated risk and it doesn't work out, that does not mean that you need to be taking a hit of your confidence. Instead, you would just have to say, let's try something different this time, and onward you go. Anyway, I hope you learned something from this. If not just that if you run a product-based business, this strategy works. Send it to 1,000 people or give 1,000 people a 50% off or give people a discount that just covers cost and shipping and say, can you post it on this specific weekend? Can you say something like this or do a reel like this and try to get it out there? Because sometimes that truly is the best way. Saturate the market in a tight period of time so that people are like, why is everyone in the world talking about this product? And you will know why. It's because you set it up that way. Anyway, hope this gives you some ispirazione. That's Italian for inspiration. I have no idea. I don't speak in Italian. But I hope it gave you some ispirazione. And I hope that you feel a little bit emblazoned to take some risks of your own and to remember that you are indebted to the client's results, not to the client's happiness. Before we go, there's a couple things I want you to remember on these episodes. I'm obviously all about helpful information and telling stories about my life. And part of being a human telling her story means that even though I'm trying my best, my memory may not always be serving me perfectly. Some facts in here might end up being inaccurate or changed or incorrect. You know, if I get a date wrong or a specific place where I was at, just know that I'm doing my best to recall from memory and piecing these stories together from you. There's also some cases where I may have changed a name or something that can refer back to a specific person so that I don't cause controversy with someone or a brand and make sure that everybody is protected. Doesn't change the point of these stories. They're all still my own. And these are all actual experiences from my life. So the stories themselves are not fabricated. They're just maybe some details that maybe I got wrong from memory or maybe that I'm trying to cover up so that everybody who listens feels protected and we can laugh and enjoy ourselves. Thank you for listening.